little tweaking on this bike, which is a very classic bike, and want to give it a little extra love and take you down the journey of what has this mechanic done, gone down the rabbit hole of working on this bike. And also, this is just like testing the live stream on this whole bike channel. If you like content like this or you like bike stuff, join me on I Know a Guy Bicycles channel, which is my more prominent channel. This one I'm just kind of, let's take it back, kick back and relax, like this old bike. You like the show, This Old House? Yes, exactly like that. In any case, I hope you enjoy the show, and we're just gonna check out this bike as I'm working on it, starting now. So kick back, relax, and watch the adventure of working on a bike in a bike mechanic, or a bike shop. If you haven't heard from me, I am a bike mechanic by trade. Worked in my family shop over the years. We had to close in 2001, and I worked in other shops in between. And now, in the last 5 years, I have my own garage shop. Essentially, I do service and refurbishing bikes, and basically I've taken a little bit lower pace route of bike mechanic lifestyle. Kind of ditched the high pace of production mechanics and all that stuff. To be able to do it right, as my dad would say, and just enjoy what I do and share my experiences. This has been an interesting journey since the days of working on bikes like this to current, and in any case, it's something I love doing and I love sharing. I hope you can hear me and listen in, and please chime in if you have any questions as I'm working on this bike and live stream. Gotta have my cup of joe going. It's a beautiful December day. Got the garage door open. Gonna be in the 70s today. And that being said, I am definitely gonna be going for a bike ride. So let me do a little recap on this bike. If you haven't watched anything I've been doing yet from either of my channels, this is a Klein full suspension. If you ever heard of Klein, Gary Klein was a high-end aluminum mountain bike, road bike builder in the 80s and the 90s, and it was acquired by Trek Bicycles in the mid-90s, which they made bicycles all the way through 2006-ish. And Gary Klein had a lot of insights on aluminum process of drawing tubes out, and he went to MIT. He's the engineer that had a bike line, not a racer that had a bike line. So a little bit of history there. These also had a super high quality paint, as you can probably see. You got a blue hue on top of a green bass boat glitter, almost that big of a glitter. The decals on all the Kleins, majority of them are painted first, like the silver's painted, then it's layered on top of that. So for doing detailing, this bike is one of the top of the line bikes to do detailing on because the paint is really thick and has multiple layers, but also it will pop in the sun. I mean, it's going to explode in the sun once it's all done. I just did the finishing of the detailing of it, which I do scratch and swirl, compound, and polish from Adams Products. And then from there, I'm going to clean it and do multiple stacks of ceramic coating on top of this, just like mirroring the car industry kind of craziness. But before I do that though, I need to put the fork back on. The headset was crunchy, so I ultrasonic the bearings and all the parts to it and cleaned up the fork. The fork was really dirty, so I was able to clean it up. It did have black decaling on there, but that black name, not the color, on there, basically the stickers peeled right off. So anyway, it is what it is. But this bike, this fork had an 80 to 100 millimeter travel adjustment on it with a lockout. So this is one of those early 2000s suspensions, which are pretty cool, with a rear bridge mount. It is a disc mount too, so you can actually put disc on there instead of using the V-brake. I still have the V-brakes for it, which reminds me I need to get brake pads for it too to do the completion of this bike, which I'll put those orders later. So this is a combination of, I think, elastomer and a bath in the back day. They also had a port in the back where you can squirt grease in to clean up the or use out the wipers. So a lot of tech in this guy. Also the rebound, you can adjust the speed, the quickness underneath. So I had a lot of adjustments, but quite honestly, in my opinion, is too much. I mean, it's kind of like, and the suspensions have still gone kind of crazy, but they've done a little more tuning to them and so forth. In any case, to get a bike headset back together, you clean the bearings, you clean the cones, upper and lower. And after they're all clean, use bearing grease. And then these are caged, so it's one side or the other. You want the bearing race of the cage to face up or out, because the cone is a V style that goes inside. And you don't want metal to metal contact, you want just the bearings themselves. And I'm kind of liberal with the grease on these. Reason being is you can't really, I mean, technically you can't really over grease them in a sense. And you want a good water barrier. The grease is a good water barrier to prevent any gunk and stuff to get in there. So the more you get back in there, the better. Once it's adjusted right and the seals are in place, you do pretty good. The grease also in itself is sticky. So when you're doing loose bearings like this, a lot of the newer stuff is cartridge bearings. So you kind of have to, it's a press fit system. These are adjustable like the old school hubs and cones. So get that in there. Whoop. And the grease will hold it in place, hopefully long enough so I can get a good thick layer in there. And what this will do will, again, there's a lot of contaminants on the bottom for sure that kick up, especially on a mountain bike. So the more liberal of grease loading you can, the better. Keep in mind, grease like this, like the old grease that was in there, has probably been there for 20 years. So most likely it just hardened over time, which this grease will do that too. They need to be eventually flushed out. The cage itself is really designed to hold the bearings, make it easy to go in and out. But you can pull that cage out and just put loose ball bearings in there. You just add one more bearing, but who wants to do that to themselves? But it is possible if you're in a pinch and you don't have a cage that fits, but you do have the ball bearings that size. I think these are, where's my, oh hell, I don't know where my ruler is. It's over on the other side. But you can measure the ball bearing size, like a 3/16 or something like that, and then you can put them in there loose. This washer here, cup goes on the bottom side, and I'm just trying to remember, this is just a straight flat piece of plastic, so it doesn't really matter which way that one goes. And then this is the cone portion on the fork. It's called a crown race. You want to inspect these and make sure there's no pits from the ball bearings, because if it's been over tightened, the pits will embed into the metal here. This is a little bit softer than the actual cones. Then you'll need to replace this, which in these days you'll just replace the whole headset. But that will give you a notching kind of effect when you're turning and so forth. In any case, Amanda Platoon, thank you for joining in. Hi, this is a pre-impromptu, just going and rolling for the holidays. You know, we're gonna be doing some Christmas shopping and everything here coming soon, but yeah, I mean, not live streaming, but just, you know, personally. And Carlos, thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching the channel too. Any case, and you know, Amira, I got to read this off my phone, so I'm sorry. This is usually do a different platform on my other channel. I just decided to try the actual live version through YouTube's platform to see how it's performing. So this is kind of a test and also a content builder for this whole bike. Oh, Adam Creations. Yeah, thank you for joining in. Appreciate it. Let's see here. So I got a few of you guys chiming in, looking in. So basically I'm reinstalling this headset if you're just joining, or reinstalling the fork really. Reason being is I want to finish cleaning the fork, but I already polished the frame and everything. And the fork was nice out of the way. And now I'm gonna, after I get the fork on here, then I can do the ceramic coating. The reason why I want to do this first is kind of, you know, like right now I'm doing a lot of touching and getting grease on there. I want to get that all cleaned off before I do the installation on it. I'm looking for the part that's in my left hand. Yeah, this is an interesting headset. It says Cane Creek, but it's manufactured by VP. So this is before Cane Creek started building its own stuff. They're actually subcontracting it, or maybe they were building their own stuff. And this is just a, I would say, a little bit cheaper headset in the time. that kind of thing. And the idea on these, if you don't know, it's kind of like a hub. You got bearings up and on bottom. You got a race that you just saw put on there. So the adjustment factor is the compression of this adjuster cap here, and that compresses everything or adjusts up and down. So you don't need to crank this thing down. You just get it to a point where it adjusts. To do the final adjustment, you need to do it while it's with the wheel on there and everything. We're just getting it as a placeholder basically, but you still don't want to over tighten it. And the idea is, this is a great way to do it, to show you, is